Big reaction today to the bombshell news that the Los Angeles DA is pushing for a resentencing for the Menendez brothers.
Kim Kardashian has just ignited a firestorm.
Kim Kardashian using her celebrity platform to advocate for the Menendez brothers to be released. She says she met with the brothers last month.
With her reaction to a stunning twist in the Menendez brothers' resentencing, the district attorney is now asking for a brand new review of their sentences.
The Menendez brothers should stay in prison the rest of their life, and they do not believe that they were molested. And there are people in the office that strongly believe that they should be released immediately and that they were in fact molested.
Raising the possibility that these brothers, who were convicted of eliminating their parents many years ago, could be set free. Tune in, as no one knew this side of Kim existed in the final battle for freedom. Kim Kardashian recently shared her thoughts on a big development in the Menendez brothers case. The Los Angeles District Attorney, George Gascon, has announced plans to ask for new sentencing for Lyle and Eric Menendez, who were convicted in 1983 for the elimination of their parents, Jose and Kitty Menendez. Kim, who supports their release, posted on Instagram that the brothers now have a new chance at freedom with a parole hearing scheduled soon. If granted, they could be released in about 6 months, but a shocking twist could change everything. Will justice take a new turn? Kim emphasized the significant role media has played in shedding light on allegations of violence and mistreatment, particularly through television series by Ryan Murphy. She has been an advocate for criminal justice reform, highlighting the evolving understanding of child violence in society. Kim also remarked on the impact of social media in fostering public scrutiny of the justice system, encouraging a deeper quest for truth, even in instances where guilt appears evident. This increased public engagement has led to more nuanced discussions about fairness and truth in legal proceedings. Lyle and Eric, who were then 21 and 18 years old, admitted to eliminating their parents, but argued it was because they had been victims of long-term violence by their father. This claim was a main part of their first trial, which ended without a clear verdict. However, in their second trial, the judge limited the evidence they could present about the violence. In the end, both brothers were found guilty of first-degree elimination and sentenced to life without the chance of parole. A big decision is expected soon about whether Lyle and Eric Menendez, also known as the Menendez brothers, might have a chance to reduce their current sentences. Right now, both brothers are serving life sentences without the possibility of parole after being found guilty.
The second installment of Netflix's Monster series retells the Menendez brothers' gruesome murder of their parents and subsequent sentences of life in prison without parole.
In 1989, for the deaths of their parents, Kitty and Jose, in their Beverly Hills home. Their family has also been vocal, saying they have new evidence that suggests the brothers faced years of violence by their father, a well-known music executive. This claim has sparked a lot of discussions about whether the brothers deserve another chance. Today, there's a possibility that District Attorney George Gascon will announce whether the brothers, now 56 and 53 years old, could have the opportunity to leave the San Diego prison where they've been held. Gascon has shared that, after a careful review, he's leaning toward recommending resentencing, which would remove the life sentence without parole. If a judge agrees, the brothers might instead receive a 50-year sentence for taking 2 lives. Given their ages at the time of the crime, 19 and 21, they could possibly qualify for parole right away. With public interest high, the big question now is, are the Menendez brothers ready for life outside? This recommendation follows many hours of review by the teams focused on post-conviction cases and possible resentencing. The decision has also been influenced by the huge public interest following the Netflix documentary, which led to a flood of requests for information. Because of this attention, the office decided to move up the hearing date and be more transparent about the case. Now, the main question is whether the Menendez brothers have been rehabilitated and would be safe to rejoin society, considering that the reoffense rate in the country is around 40 to 50%. This decision is a big one and could set a significant precedent. As everyone waits for the district attorney's full statement and the public's response, it's clear that this case brings up deep feelings and debate around justice.
The brothers have said that they felt they were in imminent danger of their parents. They feared for their lives.
The possibility of rehabilitation and a second chance. It must be stated up front that no circumstance can ever justify heinous acts, such as elimination, The focus of this discussion is not to condone such deeds, but to explore the psychology behind extreme behaviors under duress. Often, when individuals endure prolonged violence, they may feel cornered with no escape. This sense of entrapment can occasionally drive them to commit severe actions. Cases are reported where individuals, particularly women who have suffered extended periods of violence, find themselves acting drastically against their aggressors in moments filled with fear and desperation. The appropriate course of action for anyone in such a situation is always to contact law enforcement and seek professional assistance. Think about a young man who grew up in a very troubled home, facing violence from a young age. Under the laws of that time, he was given a life sentence with no chance for parole, which meant he was likely going to spend his entire life in prison. Facing such a difficult future, he could have chosen to join gangs or cause trouble in prison, maybe even make things worse for himself. But he chose a different path. Instead, he decided to focus on turning his life around, dedicating himself to self-reflection, self-improvement, and positive change. Our lawyer reminded us today how rare it is for someone in his situation to work on growing personally and also to try to help others. For decades, the brothers devoted themselves to fostering support networks for fellow inmates burdened by unresolved trauma or physical disabilities. They spearheaded initiatives to create spaces dedicated to healing and advocated for improved living conditions within their confines. These endeavors were initiated by two young men who once believed their release from prison was unlikely. Now, after nearly 35 years, it appears they have made significant efforts to atone for their past actions. Our legal system provides a chance for their situation to be reconsidered by a parole board. If the board agrees with this view, they might decide to release them. Tomorrow, this case will go before a judge who will have the final say on whether or not they should be resentenced. Some in our office might disagree with their release, but everyone is free to share their opinions in court, because that is the best place for discussions like this. The belief in their potential for personal growth and positive reintegration into society is deeply rooted. Having dedicated years to positively impacting the lives of others, there is a compelling argument for reconsidering their sentences. Tomorrow, an appeal will be made to modify their existing life sentence without the possibility of parole to one that permits parole consideration. This shift is supported by new legislation recognizing their status as youthful offenders, which at the time of their conviction would have qualified them for parole opportunities. This advocacy underscores a commitment to justice that evolves with societal understandings and legal frameworks. As the case unfolds, we see how our views on violence can shape how we understand justice. Another key point is to recognize how cultural views can sometimes make it hard for us to empathize with victims of intimate violence assault, whether they are women or men. For example, in their first trial, the jury was split, with half thinking they should be convicted of manslaughter instead of elimination. This split decision shows just how complicated their story really is. Years ago, the Menendez brothers were released from prison, but they went through a second trial where they were found guilty of elimination under difficult circumstances, leading to life sentences without the chance of release. It's important to recognize how our deep-rooted views on issues like intimate violence and assault can sometimes lead to serious injustices. To every victim of intimate violence assault, whether you're a man or a woman, please know that there is a community ready to support you. In the expansive region of Los Angeles County, support is readily available for those in need. Whether one opts to take legal action or not, assistance is provided unconditionally. Services and guidance are offered to help individuals navigate their situations with care. Should someone decide to proceed with a legal case, it is managed with the same dedication as any other. The goal is to compile sufficient evidence to convincingly present the case to a jury, aiming for a verdict beyond a reasonable doubt. Individuals are reassured that they are not alone in their journey. Secrecy is unnecessary, as help is always accessible, offering a supportive presence without any prerequisites. Los Angeles County District Attorney George Gaskin recently announced that the Menendez brothers could be resentenced.
We have a policy that we only send victim services advocate if the victim or the victim's family wants that support. We don't send lawyers.
Tomorrow, he plans to request this from the court, focusing on the brothers' ages at the time of the crime. They were only 21 and 18 years old, as a reason for possibly releasing them soon. This choice stands out because it reflects Gascon's stance on criminal justice reform, a major part of his work, while public voices, including celebrities, have pressured him to revisit this case. He highlights that the brothers experienced violence by their father, a claim not brought up in their second trial. Since 1996, they've spent decades in prison. And now this call for resentencing is being made in what Gascon calls the interest of justice. This approach allows resentencing when claims of physical or intimate violence were overlooked in the original trial. Gascon has also mentioned that he's not justifying their actions, but believes that their time served has fulfilled its role. Interestingly, there is some opposition to this idea, even within the district attorney's office, as some on his team feel this isn't the right choice. This split opinion may become clear if any staff members decide to voice their views in court tomorrow. This situation continues to gain attention as people in Los Angeles closely watch what happens next. Many are interested in how recent documentaries and investigations may have influenced this move. It's also drawing questions, especially given the closeness of upcoming elections, where Gascon reportedly faces challenges in the polls. Public interest, family support, media coverage, and political factors have all combined at this moment, driving this new effort for justice, which could change the future for the Menendez brothers. The first trial opened the brothers' story to the world, raising questions about what really happened. At around 6:13 in the evening, prosecutors claimed that the Menendez brothers, Lyle and Eric, eliminated their parents in their Beverly Hills mansion, motivated by greed. They pointed to the brothers' lavish spending right after the elimination as evidence. Only 6 minutes later, the defense countered with a very different story, saying that the brothers had acted in self-defense. They argued that Lyle and Eric had been deeply harmed and violent by their father for years and believed they would be eliminated if they tried to reveal the truth. This difference in viewpoints led to a split jury, leaving the case undecided. The uncertainty of the first trial led to a second one. But this time, almost none of the brothers' claims about violence were allowed to be considered. This led to the brothers being convicted and sentenced to life in prison without the chance for parole. Over time, though, the case returned to the public interest.
And really thanks everyone for coming out and for being here and for supporting one message, which is, this shouldn't happen again.
Largely due to a popular Netflix series and documentaries revisiting the trial. Public awareness about violence had also grown, which put new light on the Menendez brothers' claims. Adding to the renewed interest were new claims of intimate violence misconduct by their father, involving a member of the popular boy band Menudo. A letter from Eric to a cousin also surfaced, hinting that the violence might have been ongoing just 8 months before the elimination. At the same time, one of the brothers' uncles actively fought against any efforts to release them, even taking his stance to court. The district attorney's office faced increasing public attention as they balanced public demands for justice with political pressure. The legal process made a full retrial nearly impossible, but the DA offered an option to resent the brothers under a new policy. This policy, which had been rarely applied since 2021, was now being used in a handful of cases. Despite thousands of similar cases waiting in line, the Menendez brothers case has moved to the top, sparking questions about the timing and intentions behind the DA's actions, especially since elections were approaching. Attention shifted to the new pieces of evidence, primarily found by journalists. One piece was an old letter indicating a history of violence discovered among family belongings. Another piece was a sworn statement from a former Menudo member who claimed to have been violenced by Jose Menendez. These pieces of evidence were waiting to be presented in court, leaving the public and legal experts wondering about their possible effects on the case. This high-profile case continues to unfold, revealing how complex issues of law, family trauma, and public opinion come together in the justice system. Homicides typically involve careful planning, but the underlying reasons behind each incident truly distinguish one case from another. It seems unjust to consider some of these incidents as less severe, such as manslaughter. Discussions about elections are not pertinent to the matter at hand. However, if the topic of re-election arises, it could be addressed in a private conversation. The primary focus should remain on the specific case being discussed. A crucial decision lay ahead, necessitating a careful selection of the best course of action. The possibility loomed that a future replacement might reverse the current initiatives, but such an outcome seemed unlikely. Ultimately, any lasting decisions might have to be settled in court. Regarding the support offered, it remained strictly reactive. Services were provided only when victims or their families initiated contact. There was no practice of dispatching attorneys to challenge previous court rulings. The approach was deliberate and cautious, ensuring that assistance was given when requested, and respecting the boundaries of legal and personal intervention. It's important to remember that these choices have lasting impacts. Let's focus on what matters most for justice. Now, the parole board must decide if the brothers have truly changed and deserve a chance at freedom. The parole board, they know all the details of the original crime. Their role is to decide if someone can safely be released. That's their job. Right now, I'm trying to get this scheduled soon, hopefully within the next month or so, depending on how prepared the defense is. If there's not much to argue over, we'll move it along quickly. The discussion was intended to focus strictly on the case at hand, with a clear redirection from any tangential topics such as elections, emphasizing the importance of maintaining relevance. The speaker expressed a desire to communicate a specific message to Eric and Lyle, acknowledging their appreciation for their conduct during their imprisonment on behalf of the team and the family seeking closure. Although there was a clear disapproval of their initial actions, there was also hope expressed that the lessons learned from their past would lead to positive contributions should they reintegrate into society. Gascon is suggesting that the Menendez brothers stay in prison for as long as 50 years. Originally, they were sentenced to life without parole for first-degree elimination. Surprisingly, he isn't suggesting a reduction to manslaughter.
Jury could not come to a conclusion, and in fact about half of the jury wanted to convict them of manslaughter, which if that were have been the case, they would have been off prison a long time ago.
Which many might have expected. Locals here in Los Angeles are questioning this decision, since the DA has apparently held on to this new evidence for over a year, sparking a lot of curiosity and questions among the public. The spotlight on this case has intensified lately, possibly due to a new Netflix series and other media stories about it. With the election coming up, some are wondering if the district attorney's recent actions are connected to his low polling numbers. George Gascon, the district attorney, is facing criticism as he manages these political pressures. Last week, some major developments took place when the Menendez family gathered together. Many expressed frustration over how Eric and Lyle Menendez were shown in the media, making it clear they stand firmly with the brothers. They argue that Eric and Lyle suffered severe violence by their father and are pushing for their early release from prison. Right now, no one really knows when or if the brothers might be released, as there's conflicting information on the timeline. A lot depends on decisions made by the judge and the parole board. It's understandable that people are questioning the political motivations behind recent actions, but it's also worth remembering that the district attorney has a role to play in keeping the public safe and listening to community concerns. At the same time, there's a real issue with how documentaries and media reports sometimes get facts wrong, leading the public to form opinions based on misinformation. Angela and Dana, who spoke out recently, mentioned that the district attorney had acknowledged the seriousness of the Menendez brothers' crimes, but also recognized their efforts toward rehabilitation. Now, it's up to the legal system to decide if they have truly reformed and if they deserve a second chance. Different members of the Menendez family have conflicting views, adding even more tension to the case. Some relatives are against the idea of releasing the brothers, believing that the crimes were planned and that the original verdict should stand.
Katie says Anderson, who is now 90 years old, wants the brothers to remain imprisoned and serve their life sentences at the very least for killing his younger sister.
Within the district attorney's office, there are also differing opinions on whether parole should be considered, creating an ongoing debate. This internal disagreement could play a big role in shaping what happens next. Meanwhile, the community is closely watching, preparing for what could be yet another round of intense media coverage. Will justice be served by granting the Menendez brothers a second chance, or would it undermine accountability? Let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe for more updates.